all that. So you have to go through all those different processes, which ultimately brings you into a kind of a dark place, you know what I'm saying? Because you really don't know. And at the time I didn't realize it, but I changed into a different markets at that time, which was kind of like, I didn't even realize it at the time. I was just so focused on not having what I wanted that I couldn't focus on the most important things at the time.
What's up, y'all? Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Let It Be the Podcast. I have with me my homie, a special guest, Mr. Marcus Wright. Marcus, thank you so much for joining me on Let It Be the Podcast.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Of course. When I thought about you, first of all, I watched your journey overall, over these years from college is where we kind of got connected. But I watched how you elevate so much and the people's lives that you were impacting. And I was like, dang, I wonder if he would want to. So I DM'd you because I was like, when you released, it was another podcast that you was on. I was like, oh, he does do podcasts. So I was like, I wonder if he would do mine. And then my best friend was like, just ask him.
Right.
So thank you so much for agreeing.
No problem. I'm happy to be here. Most people don't think I talk, but I do talk.
Literally, I just told him that. I didn't know you talk.
I do talk.
So let us know. Introduce yourself. Tell us who you are, where you from. Tell us something fun, something what you be doing on the weekends, what you like to do.
So, of course, I'm Marcus Wright. Married, got 2 kids. I'm from Kansas City, Missouri, born and raised. What I do for fun, I need to get better with that, actually. Right now, I just like to hang out with my family. I work like crazy, and I like to spend a lot of time with my family outside of here. So that's my fun.
Cool.
Yeah.
So speaking of family, how did we get connected?
So we went to college together at Northwest Missouri State. Yeah. And we had mutual friends. And then after a while, my wife transferred to Northwest, and you guys were roommates. Yeah. So
that's crazy to think. So me and his beautiful wife. So don't nobody get in my DM, say nothing to me. This man is married and he loved his wife and he got kids.
Yeah.
But me and his wife were roommates. And we was we were in the same department major wise. So we spent a lot of time together and then we lived together. So, but from college, I remember you being a college football player. And I mean, our school was really big with football. But I never heard you talk, literally. You was just always like a gentle giant. You never, you see him, but you don't ever hear him. So
I used to kind of stay to myself. So for the most part, I was so focused on football that, that's what it was. I really went out, probably my freshman and sophomore year I did, but after a while, it was football and nothing else because I wanted to stay focused. And I know I had at the time, I had an outlet for that, and I could actually go somewhere with it after college. So I did a lot of my focus was there. Of course, I had my core friends, my teammates, they knew me, but I did talk, you know what I mean? But I was just kind of like minding my business. So I was like, focus.
So what inspired your athletic journey? Have you always been an athlete? Did you always love football?
Yeah, I always loved sports. From as long as I can remember, 3 years old, 4 years old. I loved basketball at first, but, my body type kind of transitioned to football more. So I ended up falling in love with that. We used to play on the block and different stuff like that. And, you're good at it. So I kind of gravitated towards it. And then next thing you know, I got a football scholarship. And then we had Northwest and winning championships.
So and did you play football in high school or you played basketball?
I played both. So I played basketball and football. I actually went to Mid-America first for a year, then I transferred to Northwest.
Mid-America, I've heard of that school. Is that a community college or is it
it's a
smaller school?
It's a small school. It's private. It's Nazarene. Yeah. So it's a little different, but I ended up going there first, kind of treated it like JUCO, and then I went to Northwest.
Okay.
Yeah.
So high school, it's you got a scholarship, went to college to play football. What was that balance like being a student athlete? Because first of all, college is already, especially, I don't know if you were a first gen college student, but you don't really know what you're getting yourself into when you go to college. But then you are also an athlete. So how did you balance that, being an athlete and doing sports and being in college?
Being a student? Yeah. That's That's a tough one for me because I had when I went to college, I had aspirations of being an engineer, and
Really?
yeah, and then I wanted to do business and a couple different things, but I was so focused on football that I was like, I couldn't focus on nothing else until like after my sophomore year, and then I started to get more focused on what I wanted to do with my life. But it was a hard balance because at Northwest, for example, football is such a big thing, so it turns into a job almost. We got workouts in the morning, we got film study 2-3 times a day. We got meetings before practice, then meetings after. And then you have to do school on top of that. So it's a tough balance, and it's hard to focus on anything else outside of that. But I guess along the way, you just kind of got to get your mind right, be strong mentally, and then just do the work that you got to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So after college, I mean, I feel like most athletes, like, their dream is to go to like the big league and play sports. Did you have that same aspiration? Was that your plan? Like, did you have a plan B?
Yeah. So at the time, to be honest with you, I didn't. I just wanted to play football. Like, just growing up, that's all I knew. You know what I mean? So when I was at Northwest, I ended up, after my junior year, at first I didn't know that I was NFL teams was looking at me and stuff like that. So I had no idea. Then my coach came to me and told me that people are taking interest. So I was like, whoa. So it was kind of like a shock, but it kind of revved up my energy to kind of get football even more. So I had aspirations of doing that. After my senior year, I talked to different teams, the Panthers, the Rams, Patriots, a few different teams. So I had different looks. It didn't end up working out. I did have tryouts and different things like that, but it was a fun journey and a fun process that kind of ultimately shifted my life in another direction than I thought it would go. So
Pivot.
Yeah.
So with and I think the reason why I'm like drawn to your story too is because I remember, because like I was connected with your wife, so I remember like what that was like, the shock, like, okay, well, this is not working out, but this was your dream. So how do you navigate? Because I've shared on my episodes before, like I have definitely had, I call it like post-grad depression. Like I really went through it after I graduated because people knew me from radio. And so then I worked, like I was with Hot 103 and doing the things, but people don't know what it's like behind the scenes, the work that it goes into, the money that don't deposit into your account. You know what I'm saying? And so like I didn't want to try to keep up a persona like, I'm doing this thing when I didn't feel it. And it was hard looking for a job and I couldn't find a job. Working, like my degree is public relations and I couldn't find, like my dreams just wasn't working out like I thought it was. So I want to know from an athlete's perspective, what does that feel like? Like, what was that like? Okay, like you trying out for all these different teams, but it's just not, I was gonna say the ball ain't going in the net, but you play football. But it's just like the shots wasn't dropping. So how did you navigate that time?
So that was a tough time for me. I remember I was gonna be an undrafted free agent, which I had an agent at the time, and I had that they were in contact with different scouts and everything like that. So it was actually the day that we graduated that I expected to get a call, and I didn't get a call. So I was happy at the time that I graduated, but I couldn't enjoy it. You know what I'm saying? So I just couldn't focus. I couldn't be happy on a diploma, and getting my degree that, I was just focused on football. Where's that call? I'm looking at my phone. Somebody called, like, what's going on? Agent texting. So I couldn't stay focused on the main thing at that time, which was graduating and being happy. So, and actually Chelsea's family, they came down to Maryville and they had a big cookout and I wasn't there. Yeah, so I just ended up going back home for the night, just couldn't focus. So it's a tough transition because you pour everything that you got into it. And then when it doesn't come to fruition, it's just kind of like, what do I do now? Because I didn't have a goal, because all through the season and all through that semester, I trained for the NFL and then it just dropped. So it's just like, dang, what do I do now?
Now what? Yeah. How do you pick up the pieces? So what did that look like for you? Did you get a job somewhere?
So it was weird, man. It was like, so me and Chelsea stayed back in Maryville for a couple more months, I think. And so I still had an agent during that time and all that kind of stuff. So I didn't work. I still had money left over from the semester and a job that I had during college too. So my wife, Chelsea, she got a job in St. Joe as a news anchor. I think that's the proper term, a news anchor. So we moved to St. Joe off of that, and I was still trying to just play football. So I ended up doing a couple CFL tryouts and different things like that. And along the way, just happened to just find work, part-time jobs, something, because even though I had a degree, people wasn't trying to hire me. And I had talks with my strength and conditioning coach at Northwest and talking about coming back and possibly being a grad assistant or whatever. But I was engaged at the time, so, you know, I had to manage that. Chelsea wanted me to be with her and all that kind of thing. So it was tough, but we got through it. We on the other side now. So
good. And so that's why I wanted to, because people admire what they see,
right,
but they don't know the path to get there.
Right.
You know, they don't know the rejection. They don't know the hard work and the dedication
Right.
that you put into that. The feeling lost, like, what do I do next? Like,
Right.
what I planned didn't work out. And now you have a woman that you done proposed to her, and y'all wasn't married at the time.
No,
right?
it was engaged.
Yeah, so
and it was scary. You know what I'm saying? You like, a part of me like, hey, do I be selfish and just keep chasing my dreams, or do I just provide and focus on trying to get married and things like that? So it was tough. Or do I go home? I'm 22, 23. Do I go back home and, you know, live with the parents and all that? So you have to go through all those different processes, which ultimately brings you into a kind of a dark place, you know what I'm saying? Because you really don't know. And at the time I didn't realize it, but I changed into a different markets at that time, which was kind of like, you know, I didn't even realize it at the time. I was just so focused on not having what I wanted that I couldn't focus on the most important things at the time.
Man, that's real.
Yeah.
Man, I relate to that too, because it's like, you know, that God dream, that dream that's inside of you. You've lived this your whole life, and so to see it, like, you get close to it, and then you can't quite grab it. So it's like, now what do I do? You know. Luckily, you had people to kind of like help you or be around to show you that kind of love, because it is like an isolating space where you feel like nobody can relate.
Right.
Don't nobody know what I'm going through.
Right.
You know, and like, I want it so bad. So you stayed in St. Joe and then y'all came back to Kansas City?
Yeah, we stayed in St. Joe for a year. And
Okay. I don't think I knew that.
If anybody's wondering, never move to St. Joe, please. It's not it's not it.
Us. That's where the Chiefs train. Do they still train up there?
Yeah, it's like living in, if you're from Kansas City, it's like living in Independence or something. It's probably even worse. But yeah, that was we moved back to Kansas City after a year and just basically started our lives.
Yeah. So when you started your life, like Elevate Fitness this is where you are now, but it was a journey to get to this point.
Sure,
so how was you doing personal training? How did that work?
So it's weird because I had a degree and I came back home and I still couldn't find work. It was the weirdest thing ever, applying everything. I'm trying to be a trainer at all these gyms and different things like that. And they're like, oh, you need this certification, you need this, you need this. I'm like, I have a whole degree. I've been studying for this and all these things like that. And I just graduated, but nobody was having it. So I still came back here with no particular plan. And what happened? I worked at a moving company. I'm like, okay, I'm still not doing what I wanted to do, but it's something to get some income. So from there, I got a call from Monte. Monte was already training. He was working at 24, but he had an opportunity to work at an independent facility, at a gym. So he called me like, hey, this owner, he's trying to find some people to instruct his boot camp classes. He's like, are you interested or whatever? So I'm like, yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah, So I started doing boot camp classes, and I started to help Gary Taylor and JR at Powerhouse Fitness. So I was still in the mix within it. From there, I ended up quitting the moving job, and I was doing more boot camps and personal training. So I was doing both of those things at the same time. And then I went to Planet Fitness. It was weird, but Planet Fitness was the only place that actually would hire me. It was weird. And I'm like, okay, they explained to me I'm not their typical trainer. If you go into Planet Fitness, it's real cookie cutter. It's for the new gym goers, and the trainers are kind of like that too. So they were like, you're not the typical style, but we're going to give you an opportunity. So I took that chance, and then I worked there all the while, personal training on the side and doing boot camps on the side. And then after that, what did I do? Oh yeah, I was training under the table there. I can say that now. I can't say that then, but yeah, I was, it's a real cookie cutter place, but I wanted to take advantage of it. So I ended up getting clients off of that, and people were paying me from that facility too.
So then you branch off. Well, I remember working with you in Chelsea. Like me and my best friend did like it was a program that y'all had.
Oh,
like
yeah.
A fitness. I forgot what it was called.
It was a 30-day challenge.
Like a 30-day challenge. Yeah. And so for me, like my weight loss journey, when I went to college after my freshman year, I got really heavy. And I didn't know I was heavy. My brother actually worked at 24-Hour Fitness, and I worked at 24-Hour Fitness too. But he got me a job, and he was like, girl, I'm gonna get you these 6 weeks with this trainer. And so like that's when I grew to love fitness. But my weight has still, like, it fluctuates. But I was like, I want to push myself. And Galen was like, oh, my best friend, like my accountability partner. Like, okay, well, I work out with Marcus. Let's do this challenge together. And so you and your wife, y'all go into business together? Or what was that? Was that something I was trying?
Just along the way, it just kind of, because Chelsea's certified too. She doesn't train, but she's certified. So she has an interest in health, and she's real good at what she does and knowing nutrition and different things like that. She has a background in all of it. So I think this is like a year or two after I went independent as a trainer. We had an LLC and all that kind of stuff, and we just kind of figure out ways just to kind of connect with people and connect with people outside of Kansas City as well. So we decided to do that, which I think was our first joint thing we brought together, I want to say. But it was a way that I can tie in some of my exercise programs, and she can tie in some of her expertise when it came to nutrition. Brought it together and actually hit off really good. I mean, I think we had I think it was up to 10 people who did it, and everybody averaged around 10 to 15 pounds within that 30 days, which it was dope.
Yeah, I lost 10 pounds within those 30 days too. But what that did for me, because I didn't really know a lot about nutrition. I didn't really know a lot about just the balance of my diet, because I'm an emotional eater too. And so I just didn't understand. So going through that program, which I was honestly, like, I still use those, like the way I eat, like how I balance my food and stuff. I still do it to this day, just from what I learned with y'all. But so from there, it sounds like you did a lot of, pivoting, but then like trial and error, like you just trying to figure it out.
It's a lot when it comes to being an entrepreneur, especially when you jump into it with no guidance. So you're gonna bump your head a few times because you bet on yourself. And I said this on another podcast before that I was going to be a physical therapist. So I went back I was working at KU Med for a while, and I worked there as a physical therapy tech, just so I can learn the processes of being a physical therapist. And then I went to school. I was going to JUCO to get some prereqs to qualify for grad school. But I kind of got fed up with that. It was just too much. I was doing all of that on top of training, on top of boot camps and different things along the way. And I also had a baby on the way as well. So I ended up just kind of shifting, bumping my heads, and I made a decision to go independent. And when I did that, like I said, it was scary at the time. And I knew that it wasn't going to be easy, because now you're relying on yourself to have a paycheck as opposed to a big company, you know what I mean? So it was scary, but like I said, it worked out in the long run.
Yeah. And what I love the most is like your perseverance too, and like trial and error and figuring out and bumping your head. I just shared with you, like, even me doing this, like I'm scared, because I feel like recently God like really pushed me, like, no, you have to do this, and it's kind of like one of those things where you walk by faith really and not by sight. I don't know what this is going to turn into, but I know that everything is leading me in this direction. Right. So what would you tell somebody who is like trying, like, okay, well, what I thought didn't work out, but now something else, like there's still, like, because you're an athlete, that's just naturally in you. And so like you've done the things, like you followed that passion, but what would you tell somebody who is like trying and they feel like they're in the middle of it, like, dang, I'm at to just, like, it's just not working? Like,
just like you said, keep the faith high. The faith is the most important part. Prayer, constantly asking for guidance to guide your footsteps is key. And trusting yourself. If a voice in your head is telling you to step out on your own and do what you want to do and do what you think is right, keep doing that, because you're going to get rewarded by keep trying, and that faith is going to get tested plenty of times. And if you don't stick with it, then You know what I mean? It's gonna be you're gonna look back 5 to 10 years and be like, dang, what I would have been. I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't have this gym if I would have stepped out on my faith. And I didn't. I didn't have faith in God and what He had planned for me. Because just because you go through the journey doesn't mean there's not gonna be bumps. There's gonna be some bumps. You're gonna have to bump your head, but that's how you learn along the way. So those times was hard, but you do appreciate it now that you're on the kind of getting on the other side of it.
So what would you tell, like, I'm curious just from a Black man's perspective, because a lot of times we don't talk about like the mental health, like what the state of your mind when you're trying to like provide for your family, you're trying to provide for your business. If you got other people that's dependent on you to keep showing up, like, and then you're a father too. So like, how do you find balance with all of this?
Oh, that's a tough one. It's been a journey, and now basically what I do is, I realize that I'm in charge of the outcome of my life, or I'm in charge of how my schedule is going to be throughout the day, and I do try to find time for my family. Of course, I have a job. I mean, I have a business now that needs me here while I'm building it, but different parts throughout the day, I spend time with my family. I'll go home for a couple hours to spend time with them, or they'll come here. On my Sundays, I don't leave by their side, or my Saturdays when I'm done, you know what I'm saying? So it's a lot of hard work, but you have to find that time because the family is the most important thing, you know what I mean? Because, if you could be that dad or, that just works all the time and you have no relationship with your kids. And then you looking back, like I said, 10, 15 years ago, now your kids is growing, now they have some resentment. And I don't want that. I do want to be able to pour into my wife and pour into my kids and give them every ounce of me, even if I'm tired or anything like that. So it's important to find it and then get on the other side of it, because you just got to keep going. You know what I mean? Yeah.
So did you have, and we don't have to get too deep into your personal, like, if you don't want, but like growing up, did you have an example?
No. I'm going to be straight up. I did not. That's one of the things. I always look at it like somebody got to do it. I didn't have any guidance as far as a married man. So a married man with kids and providing and showing up, I had to learn all this stuff. Like my wife stays home with the kids and everything like that. I didn't grow up seeing that, so I wasn't familiar with it. So those are things, that's bumps in the road that you have to get used to. You have to take those challenges. And one thing that I realized is that's what we're meant to do here. What a woman's meant to do and what I'm meant to do as a man, be a provider, but also show up in every way possible for my family as well. Not having that, not seeing that, not being able to go to nobody for those type of questions was hard. Because there's challenges with that. There's bumps and there's just things that you got to figure out. I mean, and it's one of those things that I'm constantly to this day trying to figure out, but I am like on this path right now, you know what I mean? So, and it's working out. So you mentioned faith too. Did you like grow up in the church, or like, how did you find faith in? Yeah. So somewhat when I was a kid, we had a church. My family had a church on Prospect. So we grew up in the church. We was at church with my grandma every Sunday. But, getting older, you kind of find you lose touch in that. You kind of got to find your own path within it. And I don't go to church every day. One thing that I did start doing is having more conversations with God. Yeah. So it's just like we talking here every morning. That's how I start my day. So I get up at 4:00 in the morning, get in the car, turn down music, cut off everything, and I'm talking while I'm driving. It could be 15 minutes, it could be 20 minutes during the drive, but I'm having an actual conversation. And it helped me kind of feel a little bit more secure and get some stuff off my chest. And then, keep my faith high. I mean, I acted on this, stepping out into this, getting this gym, for instance, you know what I mean? It was a step in faith, and it was like God told me to do it in so many different ways. So it was me listening to that voice in my head, which I think is God, and just going, you know what I mean? Yeah, and that's why I asked that, because there's a difference between like religion and relationship. So growing up, like I was exposed to religion. You go to church, and I thought that God was like
this big sky daddy that everything that I did, he was tallying. Like, that's when you go into level 7 of hell,
don't
girl.
do nothing bad. Yeah.
That's literally, and I had a really rough childhood too. And so I didn't have a relationship with God. But it wasn't until like I went through some stuff. Like I went through some stuff as a child, and like honestly, like I've had moments recently where I kind of sat back and reflected. Like God protected me through a lot of things and I didn't. This is when I didn't recognize Him, But like there's a lot of reasons that could have kept me from being here and kept me from being like the person that I am today, just based off of things that I've been exposed to, things that I've experienced in my life. But it took me, to be honest, like I'll be transparent. Like I went through a really rough patch in college, and that is where I learned, like where I was like, oh, only God can help me with this. Because all I knew was like I said, religion and trauma. And I just felt like I couldn't get it right, but it was something that changed inside of me where only God could help me, could guide me. And then I started to listen to Him, because I just shared with you, like he was asking me about living in Texas. Like I never thought that I would be teaching a Bible study. Like I never thought that I would be like, have this passion. It's a gift that I didn't ask for, first of all. And I feel so unqualified to have this gift to share. But faith is like, it's everything to me. Like even when I moved to Dallas, that was faith. I had nothing. Like I packed up my car. I had a plastic bin and I had a suitcase full of clothes and an airbed. That's what it was like when I moved to Dallas. And I slept on somebody's floor for 12 weeks. Wow. 8 weeks. It took 8 weeks before I got a job. And like my journey to Dallas was like my exodus. Like that was really how I learned how to hear God's voice, to actually pause and to recognize like, oh, I can't do this on my own. Like I need something else to guide me. And it was like, okay, like I moved down here with no job, got a job, got a contract job, got an apartment, lost a contract job, had enough money to pay rent for a month. Got down to 89 cents in my bank account. Woke up the next day and it was $1,000 deposit in my account from my grandpa, who just was like, I just felt like giving you an early Valentine's Day gift. Like he didn't know what I was going through. And so I've been able to recognize God in my story through those instances. And that has what's allowed me to now I know that no matter what I face, I know where my help comes from. Even before I moved to Dallas, I got into an accident right before I left before I knew that I was moving to Dallas. First of all, I got into this accident, and by the grace of God, like the girl should have ran right into me, but there was a truck that knocked her out of the direct path of impacting me. But then when I get into that accident, go through what I went through, moved to Dallas, I'm poor basically and homeless. And then I end up getting my settlement money from that accident, which allowed me to get into my apartment. And like those are instances where I've seen like God show up in my life. Do you have any moments like that where you feel like, dang, I'm at the very end, but like,
man, it's been
something just happened?
It's been plenty of times. I feel like the last 4 or 5 years have been like a blur. You know what I mean? And you go through so much stuff. COVID, being an entrepreneur wasn't easy. You know what I'm saying? But something in me just wouldn't let me stop being on the journey that I'm on. You know what I'm saying? And I look at that like God. You know what I mean? Because no matter how much we've fallen or got close to rock bottom, something popped up. Something said, no, keep going. Something said, do this. Something said, do that. So even, I'm going to speed up. I ain't going to get too personal, but speeding up to like last year when it came down to me transitioning from my other gym that I was at and wasn't happy with that. I left and I went to another gym. And how that went about, I felt like it was God's way of telling me to no, just go, to take that leap and take that step forward and trust yourself and trust your abilities, and everything will work out how it's going to work out. And it did. And that was one of the first times I did listen to him. It was like pushing me. It was forcing me to go more, because every turn that I took, it was like, no, it was something that went wrong. And it might be a situation to where God wanted me to see that maybe I'm the guy, I'm the leader, or I'm the person that I've been out here looking for. Maybe I need to step into this. So I took all those things and I put it into what I believed in. And now we here to this situation. So,
and it's funny that you say that, like you recognize like you're the leader, like you're the person who you've been looking for all of this time. Because I found even for myself, like I was looking for something to tell me that I was good enough, you know, something to validate like this vision that I had. You know, it's like, okay, well, who gonna help me get there? Who gonna? And God was like, "No, you're gonna do it."
Exactly.
And to be honest, that's how I feel right now. Like I am terrified to like embark on like an entrepreneur journey, but it's like this has always been in my heart, and I didn't know that it was possible. But sometimes God will allow you to go through something to run straight up against the wall. Like, okay, what did I learn from this? And that's why I wanted to talk to you just to get a male's perspective too, because people, like I said, they see the outcome, but they don't know like that there's going to be hardships. There's going to be seasons where it's like, why do I work here? Why am I dealing with this? I'm not making enough. Like it doesn't make sense, you know? But then you keep trusting. And one of the only analogy, and like, I don't have kids and I kind of don't want kids, but like, I keep thinking the analogy that I've been using lately is, like when a woman is about to give birth, you go through them contractions. So, and first of all, the journey of giving birth is so, you know, like there's so many different seasons that you go through. Your body is changing, you desiring different things. You got to prepare for different things, such as life, right? And so like you go through things, but then when I feel like when God is about to birth that thing, stuff starts to get really constricted, you know, like, and then it's like, okay, well now this is happening. It's really uncomfortable, but it's something that's like being born in those seasons of comfort. And then like once you get to the other side, not that you forget, but you don't really remember the pain. You know?
Because I mean, and it's all about kind of looking at stuff like a test of your faith sometimes, you know, because sometimes you don't understand why things are shaping the way they are. Even when you get so close. I remember being in those moments to where I just felt like I was like in arm's reach of something, but I just couldn't break through that. But I felt like all those little bumps was just a test of your faith. Are you going to give this up? I know you got it, but I want you to know that you got it. So I'm going to put you through some little twists and turns to see if you can get through it. And I remember looking at it like that. And like you said, now looking back, I see the beauty of all those moments and all the stuff that I went through, because it was some dark times, you know what I'm saying? Some scary times, you know, some scary times that I wanted to pull up applications on Google or something like that, you know what I mean? But it was something that was always the voice. Shut that laptop, shut that iPad, or whatever the case may be, and just keep going, you know what I mean? Something was in me to keep telling me to go, regardless on the outside noise. And that's one of the most important things too, is shutting out that outside stuff, you know what I'm saying? What other people's views on life should be for you. And you got to shake that. What you feel like, what you need to do in your heart, you follow that, and you're going to get to the other side of all that trouble.
So how do you discern like who to share certain things with? Because I do feel like I got a God dream, but I know I can't share my God dream with everybody, even people that's really close to me, you know, like I can't share everything. Like, how do you discern that? Like, or have you had moments where it's like, oh, I'm talking to somebody about it and they tell you their opinion, and so now you kind of doubting what you can do? Have you gone through that?
A lot. I'm trying to think of, I've been through that a lot, because you talk to your parents, you talk to people, and, you know, friends, and just different people around like Kansas City that's been stuck in the spot that they in. So, and I realized that you can't keep going to them people for answers. And you have to talk to like-minded people. If you don't talk to like-minded people, you're always going to be stuck in the same environment that you grew up in, or the same situations, because they only know that way. So you have to be open to having different conversations with people about maybe like your hardships, because those are the people that's going to relate to you the most, and they got feedback for you as well. So that's one thing I started doing. I kind of went into this little box and this little shell too, of not expressing everything that I go through with all my loved ones or the people that I grew up with or around. And I didn't think nothing was wrong with that. You know what I mean? I just had to distance that in order to be able to excel and elevate to new heights. So
was there anybody particular in your journey that has like played a part in like your success, or like mentored you, or kind of somebody that you aspire to be like, oh, I see what they're doing, I want to do that?
Man, it's a lot, man. I always go back and I give Joe Quillen a lot of credit. Joe Quillen, Northwest Missouri State strength and conditioning coach. I think he's the standard when it comes to strength and conditioning. He's the best in my opinion. I might be biased because I went to Northwest, but the complete best. I give him credit because, I used to enjoy. I was more at peace in our workout sessions than I was playing football. You know, I used to have way more fun doing that. Even though I was good at football, I would have more fun because it was a time that I could kind of let loose. Gary Taylor, of course, which I mentioned before, one of the first people that told me that I was good at this. I'm trying to think. Dang, I got a brain fart right now, but those are just to name a couple people within the fitness industry that I looked up to that kind of gave me a outlet on how I should be. But yeah, I think if it come back to me, I'm gonna let you know.
Okay.
I can't think.
But you said something that stood out to me. You said that your strength and conditioning coach, like working out with him, felt more at peace than football.
Yeah.
So you think about that when you shared earlier, like your dream was to play football.
Yeah.
But think about like where you are now.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like how I feel like God'll show you little hints along the way.
Yeah.
You know, like you chasing this thing, but this is where your peace is.
Right.
You know, this is where you find fulfillment in. Mm-hmm. And so that actually brings me to like Elevate Fitness. Tell me about your gym. Like, so you went from somebody, like one of your friends reached out, y'all worked at, cause I remember working out with you at a different gym. Mm-hmm. How did this come about?
So me and Monte Simmons, my business partner, which you know him, he went to Northwest too. We've been basically under the same facility off and on since 2016. Mm-hmm. And I think it was right before COVID, 2019 going to 2020, we started kind of flirting with the idea of having our own space. And we were kind of looking or whatever, and it ultimately didn't work out because of kind of COVID and everything like that. So I ended up leaving our gym, which was Superior Fit Body at the time. Mm-hmm. And I went to Tough Club where you worked out with me at. Okay. And whatever happened over there, I'm not going to get into all that. I ended up leaving that gym. And I came back and me and Monte reunited at the same facility again. And then we went through what we went through with that gym. And the guy basically, he got out of his lease early. So me and Monte were like put in a position to where we had to make a move fast. So we started talking about those old ideas that we had to get a new gym. We moved fast. And now we're here. We built this thing from the ground up. Like we tell everybody coming here, it used to be a tax office.
Wow.
And we transitioned it the best way we could into a gym. We got an outlook of it on how we wanted to look and how we wanted to be, and we knew it was on a busy street and all that kind of stuff. So we came and we did the turf, we did the rubber, we painted the walls, we did everything ourselves and put together all the equipment. And now we're here. I mean, it's not done yet, but we still got a lot more to add, but we enjoy it, and it's ours, and it's private. It's not too much, which I think is the new wave. And yeah. So.
What does it feel like for you to have? I'm so fascinated with people who actually do it, right? Like it's something that starts as an idea in your mind, and now we sitting in this idea that you had that was in your mind. What did that feel like to you?
I feel good. It feels good, but for me, I always look at stuff like it's just another milestone. I got so much other stuff that I want to tap into. Mm-hmm. And sometimes people look at us like we open up a gym like we made it, but I'm over here like, nah, you know, I got more. It's more. Mm-hmm. This is just the start of something. And I feel like you have to look at stuff like that to be on your toes. You can't get too comfortable in this life, or we always going to stay the same. Yeah. So my goal is to, like I said, elevate. Our gym is called Elevated Fitness. It's to keep elevating my life and set up paths for not only myself, but my kids, and keep being able to keep my wife at home and different things like that. So that's my motivation, to be able to, my sons, maybe, you know, who knows, one of them want to take over the family business one day. Maybe they want to be a trainer, or maybe they want to train trainers, or maybe they want to do something within the fitness industry, and I can give them that path. So that's kind of my motivation for that. in a list of other things, but it's just a step. And if I was to show you the breakdown that I have on different ideas, you would kind of be like, it's crazy, but it's a lot more that's going to come. I know it's going to come, you know, so.
But you just got to start. And to be honest, you inspiring me because I was just telling you about how, like, I'm the producer.
Yeah.
I'm the host.
Yeah.
Like, I do everything. I edit. I do everything. So it's like, I know that one day it's not going to always be this way.
Right.
But you just got to start and you got to keep moving forward. And things will be added to you along the way. But this is a great accomplishment. So I always tell people too, and this is also biblical, like, don't despise small beginnings because everybody starts somewhere.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And then you'll be able to look back. Like, I remember, because you can look back on your story. I remember when I was here and then I was there.
Yeah.
I remember when I was on the radio and then I went from having my own show to literally create. I had my own show on air, but like creating my own thing. I can do whatever I want to do with it. You know, it's that freedom. But you also mentioned something we kind of glanced over, and you don't have to share too much. But what is fatherhood like for you? What does that mean?
Man, it's fun, and I got 2 boys too, so it make it even more fun. So it's challenging to be able to try to raise 2 black men in this world. But I'm motivated by that, and it's a challenge because you want to raise them to grow up to be respectful, to be confident. To be some stand-up guys. That's important to me. You know what I mean? I want to, all the mistakes that I've made, I want to be able to explain to them things that I want to do. I want them to know how to treat a woman, how to be their own man, how to be entrepreneurs, how to stand up for themselves and step in any situation and not feel like they're less than or anything like that. So anything that I've been through, I don't want them to have to do, but I enjoy it. First off, get to wrestle with them, get to play sports, especially Cam. He's 5, the baby's 10, but he's moving fast. He's 10 months. Yeah. He's already walking. But I love it. I love it. I don't want no more, but I do love the 2 I got. You know what I'm saying? So it's dope.
What about being married, being a young black married man? Like, I feel like you're an example, and regardless of like, if you know, like, I watch y'all, you know, like people see you. Sometimes you don't know who's watching, who's inspired by you. But I watch how you care for your wife, how you protect her, how you love her. Like, what is it like having a partner that supports your dreams and it's just kind of rocking with you? Like, what is that like for you?
No, it's dope. And I owe Chelsea a lot of credit. Like, she's, I tell anybody. Hey, girl. I tell anybody my wife is dope. And I'm not biased. I don't think a lot of men sit there and say that about their wife, but she's a dope person. Her mind, I always tell people her mind is on a different level.
She's so intelligent.
Yeah, it's different. And I explain to people like that. I say she's different. You know what I mean? And that's what made me gravitate towards her. Like, she gives a lot of guidance. She's educated on a lot of things. She's positive. And she got my back at the end of the day. She's been through the storm with me, you know what I mean? And she's still here. So we've been together since we were 19, going on 20 years old. And she's just dope. And you know what I'm saying? We keep going. We've grown together, which is key. A lot of people don't, when they go through different struggles and different things, most people get a divorce and different things. But me and Chelsea literally want to be together, and we want to keep growing together and being better for each other as well. So it's important. So yeah.
I love that you honor her in such a high regard, because I feel like, I mean, it depends on what you look at. Like, we're getting older, so I don't pay attention to a lot of the things no more. Yeah. But I know in social media, it is not, you don't really see a lot of black men uplifting a woman, and, you know, like, or a woman having a man's back and that without wanting something from, you know, like, Chelsea's not the type of person that, from what I know of her and what I see, like, there's just people who don't value marriage, who want something that will, he gonna give me a bag and, you know, all those things. Like, she's not like that, you know?
And that's how I know, you know what I mean? Because if something is built off of money versus built off love, and that's what I know that our relationship is built off of, because it's never been about none of that other stuff. You know what I'm saying? So it's genuinely 2 people that want to be together for the most part. And we've been together for 12 years, been married for 7. That's a long time. You know what I mean? So, and still have that feeling and that want to be better and all that kind of stuff like that is a beautiful thing. And, you know, I don't see that changing, and she doesn't either. So,
Yeah.
and I want to be able to put that in the world, because even if I do give her a shout out or I'm explaining to somebody talking about her, it's not for play. And I tell everybody that I come across about that too. Like, what I tell you about her is completely genuine. If you see it on social media, social media is completely genuine. I feel that way about her. And that makes me that makes me comfortable. That makes her secure, me secure, and we can just keep growing.
Good.
You know what I'm saying?
I love that. And keep that, like, because we need to see more examples of a healthy Black family, for one. You know, like a man like loving on his wife. There's nothing weak about it. You know,
No.
Being emotional. Like, we are the help. You know, like that's why God created us. I really do believe that. So you have somebody good, like even in a struggle, like you have to keep that.
You have to, and y'all meant to compliment each other, man. And it's, once you realize that the sky's the limit for your relationship, y'all need each other. A man and a woman, especially a Black man and a Black woman, need each other. That's always key. And don't be afraid to love on her. Ain't nothing wrong with that, big dog. You know what I'm saying? If you find a good one, you know, go ahead and lock it down. Stay with it. You know what I'm saying? Because most people don't. And that's
they'll think you can come, like, I'll have this again. You know?
Right. No, you're not. You're not. So it's dope. I love my family. I enjoy my family. They the most important, and I realized that as I got older, you know, is to pour into them even more, and that's what I do. That's why I do what I do. So,
I love it. So what would you tell another young Black man that's out here that's building? Maybe he got a family, maybe he don't. What would you tell him? What advice would you tell him? Like, okay, yeah, keep going, but like when stepping out and becoming an entrepreneur, like taking a leap of faith, like something that you wish that would help you, that would have helped you if you knew that back then. Now,
get help, get mentors before you take that leap. Talk to as many people as you can know. Ask questions from people who are has your same interests. Don't be afraid to spend money on a mentor. And just trust yourself at the end of the day. You're gonna have to trust yourself. If you don't, then you're gonna be going back to your old ways. So that's a couple tips that I got for it. You're gonna appreciate it way more, but don't just step out. If you just step out with no guidance, then there's a lot of obstacles with that. There's a lot of people out here to help. One thing that I want to do is help people. So I want to be able to help anybody that's wanting help in the fitness industry. I want to be able to help them guide them and guide their journeys. You know, it's important with no cost, nothing like that. You know what I mean? Because I was him. You know what I'm saying? I stepped out by myself with no type of guidance. But I want to be able to offer that, Chelsea as well, and some other people that I know as well. So that's always important.
Yeah, that's why, like, even for me, like, I mentor a couple of people now too, but I was that person. Somebody looked out for me. And so I would say, like, don't be afraid to be vulnerable, because don't nobody got it figured out. No. We still learning as we grow. Yeah. So I would just say, like, don't be too prideful, feeling like, oh, I can't let nobody know that I don't know what I'm doing. Like, no, I really don't know what I'm doing. But what I learned, I'm going to pull somebody else along the way. And two, I would also say, like, don't be afraid to separate yourself from people.
Yeah.
Because that's one of the hardest things. It's something that I'm learning. Like, everybody really can't go. I used to see people say that, but now I'm on the other side where it's like, now. Oh, like,
and it happens really naturally. Yeah, you know, it happens real naturally. You don't even see it coming, and you look back like, damn, I ain't talked to. You good. Yeah, it's all right. Still got love for them or whatever the case may be, but you evolve into something that maybe they can't understand at the moment, and that's fine too. You know what I mean? But it's just a part of the journey. But it's a good one. It's a good. Well, thank you so much, Marcus. Tell me a little bit more about Elevated Fitness. What y'all do here? Is it personal training? Can anybody just walk up in here and say, I want to work out? Like, how's that work? So so personal training, private training. You know, we have a 2,500 square foot gym. So we want to make sure people getting that intimate private experience, which is key. Most people go into big box gyms and they're just kind of thrown into the fire or whatever the case may be. We want you to come in here every time you come in here, you get paid attention to, and we give you I'm not about to say tip top service, and all those things. We offer personal training. I specialize in sports performance, a little bit of rehab as well. Monte is specialized middle-aged women and different things like that. So we do offer everything for everybody. And that's what's dope about this gym is we're very, very versatile. Anybody can walk in here. I have a 79-year-old client, I have a 68-year-old client, and all that kind of stuff. So anybody can walk in this gym and feel welcome, and we'll have a service for you. And we do have more on the way as well, which is
already nice in here, by the way.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, we got more on the way as far as more opportunities for people to train here, group classes, group things. We got for the athletes, small group coming, and that's basically for everybody to be able to train like an athlete. Kind of like I talked about it with Joe Quillen, strength and conditioning. I want to be able to create that within the average everyday person too, because most people don't know. So the average person probably kind of, or if you're a former athlete, you probably miss that type of environment and that type of workout experience. I want to bring that back to the table as well. So I think we got some good things coming.
Cool. I'm excited for you. And I'm watching. And I'm inspired.
Oh, yeah. We rolling.
Yeah.
We rolling.
I didn't put this question in the email, but I asked all of my guests. So I have this playlist. It's called Let It Be the Playlist. And it's basically like my pick-me-up bank. Like when I'm feeling low, when I feel like, dang, I just need to feel good. Like, do you have a song or something that like will fill your spirit up, like will encourage you or like help you when you feeling like low?
Man, I got a lot, man. I got a lot. I like, I would say,
like 3.
I say her name wrong every time. Closer to My Dreams by I love that song.
I don't know how to say her name either.
It get me in a good space. I'm trying to think. J. Cole, Love Yours.
Love Cole.
Tupac, Keep Your Head Up. It just give me a good vibe. And then I love to listen to some Lauryn Hill. So really? I love Lauryn Hill. So I can listen to women sing like Lauryn Hill, Jasmine Sullivan, different people like that. It's to kind of give you put you in a good space.
I love Lauryn Hill. To me, that is the best album to me.
Oh, fire.
Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, like that is the best album. Like she had one album and it's Diamond, but like it's still relevant all this time later. Yeah.
Top, that is my from start to album. Finish. From start to finish. When I did my first bodybuilding show, that's what I did so that's actually me and Chelsea's song. So it's Nothing Even Matters. I played that and I did my routine to that. So it's like, she's one of my top artists.
Up.
Yeah, that's my first routine. So I like R&B over rap for sure.
Yeah.
But if I go rap, it's J. Cole for sure.
I love it. Marcus, thank you so much for first of all being vulnerable, for opening your space to me, just for sharing with us today. Like I really appreciate it. And I actually enjoy learning so much more. I always thought you was a dope person, but like I see you in a completely different light now, just to know more about your journey. So thank you so much.
I appreciate you too. This is dope. Keep it going.
Thank you
I love
so much.
Thank you.
How can people support you? Like social media, you want to?
Social media, you can follow me at wrightsystemfit.com, or you could follow Elevated Fitness KC. ElevatedFitnessKC.com is where you can sign up for our services. And just be on the lookout for any social media posts. We'll be having new things for you guys here pretty soon. So
cool.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Let It Be the Podcast with Fergie, Marcus Wright. Till next time. Talk to you later. Bye. Gotta tell them bye.
Oh, bye. See y'all later.